As I've said at the very beginning, the playoffs are here, boys. It is playoff week. Some of us have buys this week.
Yeah, everyone but
Must be
me.
nice. No, I don't have a buy.
Oh yeah, you do.
And I,
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But I do want to say, if you're just now catching us, the four of us are the top four seeds of our Dynasty Fantasy Football League. We've been running this league. It's our third season, and we are rocking and rolling, and we are excited for the playoffs. And I think it would be really cool for each of us just to kind of introduce a few things here. So let's talk about our current record for our team, and then how we got here. What has been your process since the inaugural draft? Because I know we've all taken different routes to get here. Drew, you are our resident commissioner. I'll have you start this and tell us about the team and where they came from and what their record is now.
sure. So my team, Infant Sorrow, has been since day one. No name changes, unlike some of you psychos. I made a trade to. So we start at the beginning and then get to where my record is now.
Yeah, just
So
tell us the journey.
yeah, so the journey of my team is I drafted a very solid but mid team coming out of the startup draft. And I made the decision before game one of our first season to rebuild or like retool a little bit. And so I did a trade I traded Miles Sanders when he had just signed with Carolina, and people thought that was going to be a thing. Jalen Hurts and a second for Trevor Lawrence, Brees Hall, and a first. And then I ended up getting Brock Bowers with that first eventually down the line. But then that just kicked off like a whole kind of avalanche of like trades I did in that first year. So I sucked the first year. I ended up with the second overall pick. I think Jordan ended up with the first. And that pick will come up later. But then the next year, I kind of thought I knew I would make the playoffs. I liked a lot of the pieces I had in place from what I had traded for in the first year. But I didn't think I was going to win it all. And then I got the sixth seed and went on a run and won it.
JT.
So I'm the defending champ. And then this year, I had more draft picks, so I had more assets and stuff to do. So I made some more trades. And it's been an injury riddled season, but I've been able to play pretty steadily throughout. And I am, let's see, 22-6, and I have the two seed, so I have the one of the other buys.
Yeah,
So we're sitting here waiting for who I'm playing in the next round.
And when you hear 22-6, our league has the median rules, so there technically are 2 wins/losses every week. If you've never heard of that, basically the top half of the league gets an extra win, and the bottom half gets an extra loss. So you can go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 each week. So 22-6 is a pretty solid year. And I will echo, you have had a ton of injuries and have really rallied, and that team is deep. And you got one of the teams I'm the most scared of in the league. We'll talk about how much you beat me over the last few years. But before we do that, Jordan, introduce us to your team. Talk about your record.
All right, we got Adult Education is my team, which is if you don't know, I like the movie She's Out of My League, and it is the cover band, the Hall & Oates cover band of Stainer, who's a character in that movie. That's a very deep cut, but the reason I did that name was because Drew is Infant Sorrow, which is a fictional band, and then Travis actually had No Vacancy, which is a fictional band from School of Rock. Infant Sorrow is from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So I was trying to do that theme early on in the league, so that's kind of a deep cut, but that's where the name came from.
Cool.
And I went away from it for a bit and came back. But anyway, my team is 21-7. My journey from the beginning of the startup was I drafted really young, so I didn't have a lot of producing assets that were older. And so I kind of clearly it wasn't gonna happen that year. I realized I was gonna be one of the worst teams, so I started making some moves. But I did get the first overall pick, which was Caleb Williams. And I told myself back then I had to pick a year, so I said 2025 is my year. I don't want to be the forever rebuild, which is you can get caught in Dynasty, where you're just always getting picks, but then you're never really ever competing, and you're just forever just a low team with lots of picks. So this past offseason, I made a ton of moves. So I traded a lot of my picks. I traded, which I think are some savvy trades. I got a lot of players that I felt comfortable with for the next 3 to 4 years. That was like my goal. I'm trying to get high-end guys that are like really high floors. So guys that like will not bust. And so without getting into the specifics, but I thought I had like a top 5 or 4 team going into this year. I also caught the injury bug a little bit. I had CD down for a lot of the year. I had Bucky down for a lot of the year. And I had a lot of guys that would produce, but not like high-end stuff, so I had a hard time starting some guys. And then probably the biggest move this season, which I guess we'll get it, I'll save it. But basically, I think on paper, with all my team healthy, I actually think I have a top like 2 to 3 team on paper with some of my high end guys as of right now.
Hell yeah. Zach, you're up. Talk about your team, your record, how we got here.
Yeah, so I am a team at Quinception. It's cheesy. My favorite movie is Inception. I have Quinchon Judkins. I don't know. It just kind of happened. And I'm
Make it a
23 and
catch.
yeah, I make it a catch. Not on my team anymore.
That's right.
So I'm 23 and 5. I've got the 1 seed going into the playoffs by some miracle, a ton of luck. The team was built young for sure. I drafted young. I got Bijan and Chase at the turn of the initial startup draft. I still have them. They're definitely cornerstones of the team. I had some pretty decent drafting hits, getting guys in the rookie startup drafts that kind of exploded coming into this year. I was one of the favorites. You would think, looking at the number 1 seed, that I'm still a favorite. I do not view my team as a favorite currently. I've had a ton of luck in the fact that I have somehow managed to barely scrape by wins and median wins in games that I had no business winning. I looked in since week 7, I've scored 150 points 1 time. And I have won.
God.
And I have won every single head-to-head matchup during that time.
Wow.
So if you're familiar with fantasy football, that is highly unlikely. But on the flip side, I've had some bad luck as well. I've had some of the biggest probably disappointments in the league from expectations of what guys were kind of supposed to be going into this year, just not performing. Yeah, I'm in the playoffs. I got to bye. Anything can happen. But right now, the way the team's performing, I'm not exactly expecting to win a title.
Well, we'll talk about this, but anything can happen. My team is the Cyclones because it's my PlayStation Network name, and I was in a pinch to try and change it from my Scott's Spectacular Team or whatever default it gave me. And like Drew, I have never changed it because I, just stick with what you know. And I drafted a pretty competitive team that had mostly younger parts at the beginning of our inaugural draft. And I thought to myself, like, I want to be competitive, but I also want to be young in case I'm not competitive, then it's not a complete waste of a season. And at the end of our first year, I kind of went in and I made a trade with Zach, actually, and tried to make my team a little bit more competitive. And it did. I actually, in the first season, went to the finals and got 2nd place. Sadly, I lost to the powerhouse of our league at the time, who is now not the powerhouse of our league. Season 2 was a little bit of more of the same. It was me trying to lean into what I had. I had made a trade. I think this is worth noting. After the first week of the first season, I had made a trade to build my team. I already had Lamar Jackson, and we start 2 quarterbacks in our league. So I made a trade to also get Josh Allen and really build having young, skilled players around the top 2 quarterbacks for fantasy football in the whole league, hoping that if I could fit some other pieces in, I have the 2 consistent pieces every week that are always going to score a lot of points. Worked out very well for 2 years. Went back to the playoffs last year. Was a very hot team, but actually lost to Zach in the semifinals and got 4th place. Or no, I lost to Travis, I think, in the semifinals. And then I got 4th place, also losing to Zach, which was great because I got a better draft pick and it didn't affect really much of my payment. I think I would have missed out on like $25 or something. But coming into this year, I was really high on my team because I had the 2 top quarterbacks in the league. I had young running backs, Chase Brown and Devon Achane. And I was a little bit weak at wide receiver, and we'll talk about some moves that I made, but I added a lot of depth to my team this year. I really went in. I traded a lot of 1st-round draft picks and was in first place for like 12 weeks out of the last 14 weeks and ended the season in 3rd place, not getting the bye, not salty, a little salty. And my overall record ended up being 21-7 because for some reason, I can never beat Drew in fantasy football. So that's where we're at, and that's where we came from. And we've got number 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. And I kind of want to go around the circle and just ask, for this season, what were the biggest surprise players on your team, whether that's a good surprise or a bad surprise? And we'll go in the reverse order. So Zach, you can kick us off this time. What surprised you the most about a player on your team?
So it's not a good surprise, but I mean, everyone probably, all you guys know what's coming here, but Brian Thomas Jr. has been not startable most of the year. Just not what you were expecting after such a big rookie year. He's really had, I mean, there's a sophomore slump, and then there's just like a sophomore fall off a cliff, and it's rough. That's got to be the biggest surprise. Genty hasn't been great, which was kind of a surprise, but also knowing his landing spot, it was definitely a concern. On a positive surprise note, Harold Fannin has been pretty solid, at least like a startable tight end. So got him super late and appears to be promising at least.
Zach, worst pick or biggest regret for team management this season?
This season, gosh, I mean, yeah, so this is easy as well. I stand on it. It was risky when I made the trade. So I traded my first round pick for this year and Quentin Johnston for Justin Fields and a third round pick that looked good for exactly 1 week. And then Justin Fields was Justin Fields. And, it's rough. One of those things. It was risky when I did it. I knew I was hoping for, at the time when I made the trade, I'm thinking I'm a contender. He has the running potential. I just want this year. Like, if I can get a solid quarterback to go with Jaden Daniels, which also Jaden Daniels has been a huge letdown this year as well. But yeah, definitely biggest regret is the Justin Fields trade.
And then last question for you. Was there a trade or a waiver move that you think saved your season this year?
No, I mean, honestly, like everything that I've done for like the past year doesn't super look great in hindsight. Like I traded Rashee Rice for Ladd McConkey going into the year. Don't like that. The best thing that I did, I think, probably at least in helping secure the bye, it was like a very minimal trade, but I traded Hollywood Brown for Joe Flacco. Whenever I was in quarterback trouble, Jaden was hurt. I was just kind of scraping by with Jared Goff and then trying to find something with either Tua or Justin Fields, and they were both really bad. And I got Joe Flacco while Burrow was out, and he kind of just filled in for a few weeks and helped at least get a few wins during that time, which in the end, I guess, kind of helped get that 1 seed at least. But
yeah,
otherwise,
a few of those weeks.
Yeah, otherwise, not the greatest managerial season for your boy.
Says the number 1 seed.
Right.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
And you know what they say.
It's
I mean, hindsight is hindsight, right? You could look at what you did the first 2 seasons and be pretty proud of that. And the third season, you look back and maybe this one didn't pan out, but yeah, I mean, that's dynasty football right there, right? Because it's your decisions have long-term impacts and you just got to commit to them, whether they're good or bad. And trust me, I've got certain things that I'm like, oh man, what if I didn't do that?
What kind of idiot drops Michael Wilson? What a stud.
We'll talk about that. Jordan, I'm going to ask you the same stuff here. Who is the biggest surprise player on your team? We'll start with that one first.
Surprise has got to be Jake Ferguson. I know he's solid. I figured he'd give me some good weeks, but I didn't know he was going to pop off most of the year like he has. So definitely, that'd probably be my biggest surprise on my team, I think.
Yeah, that guy's been a monster. What about worst picks or biggest regrets?
I don't necessarily regret it. It's just kind of unfortunate. Would be the Garrett Wilson trade. I traded for Garrett Wilson, which I love Garrett Wilson just as a player, and that's another kind of goes with my strategy of I want to pick players and trade for players that I think are going to be locks to be relevant for a long time, which obviously he will be with that long contract. And then he got injured literally the game after I traded for him, and he hasn't played since. And
that's brutal.
Actually, real quick, I was going to see what I traded for him. I traded Travis Etienne, what was going to end up being a later 26 first and a 27 third, which I still think that I would do that if he's healthy again. So I don't really regret the trade. It's just bad injury luck.
Yeah, you'll still have him next year, right?
Mm-hmm. And however long you 2, 3, 4 years after that.
Yep. Hell yeah. And then lastly, any trades or waiver moves that you think may have saved your season or put you in the position you're in?
I think my team was already looking pretty good, and I think what put me over the top, that I think on paper I could be one of the favorites, would be my Trey McBride trade. Especially our format is tight end premium. We are half PPR and then a half premium, so tight ends score full PPR. All other ball catchers are half PPR. So I traded Gadsden, like literally the night he popped off with the Chargers, Oronde Gadsden. If you don't know, he's young rookie for the Chargers tight end. Colston Loveland, and a 2026 second-round pick that is going to be an early second-round pick for McBride, and a 26 fourth-round pick. I think that kind of definitely solidified my team as a top, on paper at least, team when everyone's healthy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Honestly, when you made that trade, I was a little bit sad. I was a little bit sad because I knew it just made you a better team. There's been some trades that all of you have made that made me feel that way. But we'll move on to you, Drew. Same questions. Biggest surprise player on your team this year?
I mean, I've been staring at him here. The Justin Jefferson situation is a little upsetting.
Yeah.
he has proven that nobody is quarterback proof. Like there is a threshold where the quarterback play is so low that sorry about it. And the passing volume's not there. Like they're doubling him. He's getting frustrated. McCarthy's been like historically bad, even though yeah, they did win the game last week. It's a tough situation where like I think we all would say he's still the best receiver in football, if not the second best. And I mean, well, maybe Scott won it. But I don't know. It's just hard to like see somebody that talented and then see them being like playing with two hands behind their back. It feels like every game.
Actually, I want to pull the room here. Zach, best receiver in football right now.
I mean, come on, Jamar Chase.
Jordan.
I mean, I'm gonna zag and say with Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua.
Okay, that's reasonable.
You got to link them with their quarterbacks. You can't completely like.
Well, then you know what? I will
For
also zag and say JSN.
That was what I was waiting for.
I wasn't actually going to say that until I wanted us all to be different. I would probably say Jamar Chase personally, but Justin Jefferson is definitely still that guy. All right, Drew, let's move on to the next one here. Worst picks or biggest regret of this year?
First, I actually kind of crushed the rookie draft looking back at it. I regret my Omarion Hampton trade, I think, looking back at it. Just as, I don't know, I consolidated a lot with that trade where I gave Sam Darnold, Javonte Williams, Jamison Williams, and Tyler Warren for Michael Penix and Omarion Hampton. And then Hampton's been on the IR all season, and Penix is now on the IR to end the season. And there's a lot of question marks as far as what Atlanta's going to do there. Versus Sam Darnold's not been killing it or anything from a fantasy standpoint, but he looks really solid. Javonte's had a career resurgence, which we all were kind of high-ish on Javonte, I think, coming into the season, but not to the point where I was comfortable having a lot of like dynasty capital in him if I could turn him into Hampton. And then I love JMO, as you guys know, but kind of thought Ben Johnson leaving, maybe they take a step back. They're like what happened basically the first half of the year, and then they've really turned his usage around. And then Tyler Warren, I knew what I was giving up there. I had to do it to get Hampton at the time, and maybe it'll work out because RBs are like impossible to buy, and that's why I bought him then, knowing that I couldn't buy him later if he hit. That's just a tough one looking at the points that could have been in my lineup throughout the year in place of that.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And I think when you got Hampton, I was also sad about that, but I was happy to see you gave up a fair load for him because your team is already freaking good. So at least you lost a little bit of depth and some good players too. But I think you're going to be just fine. Hampton looked really good before his injury. So Najee Harris won't last much longer. And there's not a lot of competition out there once Hampton's back. He is that guy, I think. So last question again, trade or waiver move that you think saved your season?
Besides dropping Deontay Johnson, I would say, even though, when I bought Puka, like that was a big trade, like adding Puka to London and Jefferson. But I think the thing that saved my season was when I sent Keon Coleman and Brenton Strange for Matthew Stafford and Isaiah Likely.
100%.
Because Burrow was out all year. Baker has been, I'm assuming something's going on with him. Like he's got to be hurt. He has not played well. And Tampa's kind of fallen off.
Shoulder injury, I think, if I remember.
Yeah. And so those were two guys that were like QB, whatever, 3 and 5 last year. And I just didn't have them. And then Anthony Richardson was on the IR. Like I was just piecemealing like random quarterbacks in there. So when I had a chance to get Stafford, I thought about it longer than I should have, honestly. But then getting him and stacking him with Puka, he's only had like one bad game basically since I traded for him. And I root for the Rams, so it was the thing that kept my season afloat for sure, and it's fun to have them too.
Yeah,
that's the best transaction of the year in my opinion so far.
Agree with that. Yeah, I think it gave you
Trey McBride is the best transaction of the year.
That's a tough one,
but they're both good. They're both good. Don't get me wrong. They're both very good.
Well, I will answer the same questions. I think the biggest surprise this year, and like Zach, maybe not a good thing. My whole team was built around having the two best quarterbacks in the league, and one of them is number 16 quarterback in the league this year, and he's been battling injuries all season, and that is Lamar Jackson, who was the very first player ever added to my team. And I think the biggest surprise is how long I was in first place, knowing how poorly he was performing. And thank God that another big surprise was that JSN ended up being more than just a top 10 wide receiver, which I was hoping for, and has been the wide receiver one for pretty much the whole year. Puka gives him his run for his money. That's for damn sure. My biggest regret, it's like I said, we would revisit this. I don't think I did anything wrong at the time, but there's been 2 times that I've dropped a player this season who did what I wanted them to do the very next week. And one was Michael Wilson. I dropped him because he sucked all year and I needed to make a play to fill my roster with more depth. And then Marv got hurt, and then Kyler Murray got hurt, and all of a sudden Jacoby Brissett is throwing the ball to Michael Wilson like 10 times in a game, and he scores 32 points this week, and So yeah, really sad to see that start to happen the week after I drop him. But that it is what it is. And then another time I dropped someone who I sat on for a long time, Keaton Mitchell. I think he is the future. All along, even when I traded him, I said I still believe in him. That when Derrick Henry's done, I think Mitchell could be the guy, at least like the RB1 for the Ravens, even if he splits the backfield. But they didn't use him. He was their RB3. They were using their rookie. I think his name is Ali. They were using him and not Mitchell for both kick returning and out of the backfield. And so I was like, well, whatever. I need to clear a roster space. I traded him for a 4th round pick. And the next week they started using him. And this week he had like 70 rushing yards on like 5 carries. I'm like, come on, man. And so there's been a few of those, but it's fine.
Let's not forget George Pickens.
George Pickens isn't a surprise to me.
Really?
I told you guys this at the beginning of the year. I thought he got better on that team because CD pulls so much attention that he can be a wide receiver 1 without CB1 coverage. And he has been. I mean, I don't know if he still is, but he was a wide receiver 2 in fantasy football for most of the year. I think he needed
I would say it's a surprise.
I think most people would. But you guys know this. I refused to trade him for 2 years whenever he was underperforming. I just felt like he could be that guy.
Yeah, I thought his ceiling was T. Higgins, and he's basically exactly hit that ceiling, essentially, which is obviously what you want.
Yeah.
Yo, can I give you guys a crazy sliding doors moment involving 3 of our teams?
Yeah.
Like last offseason, Jordan had offered me Jackson Smith and Jigba for a 20, like the 202 essentially in the draft. And I was like, I think it's Keon Coleman. I think I want to get the guy that has a chance to be the wide receiver 1 for Josh Allen versus the wide receiver 3 for Geno Smith. And he hadn't done anything to that point. And so I made the pick. He then traded him to Jordan Smith. I end up with Keon Coleman. And then Scott, you then trade for JSN. So like there's a world where I also have...
Dude.
And that might be the biggest L that I've taken in this league so far.
That's actually crazy to think about.
That is crazy.
And I gave up a bag because I did pay for him after he had a good rookie season. But I got him and Laporta, which gave me depth, which was I think the trade that saved my team. Because with an underperforming Lamar, I needed a wide receiver 1 type of a player. And I also got Jacoby Myers, who I've started more than half of the weeks. And I got Sam Laporta, who I started every week until his injury. And I have them moving forward. So I think that was the trade that saved this season and gave my team security for even if my quarterbacks start to underperform, which one actually did this year. I just really hope they stop doing that in the playoffs. All right, well, let's talk about just some philosophical playoff questions that I have here. So let's talk about how important is the bye in fantasy football? Drew, I'll start with you this time. How important do you think the bye is in the playoffs?
It's the thing that everybody wants. You'll hear us probably say just casually throughout this conversation that it's kind of a crapshoot once you get to the playoffs. Anything can happen week to week. I've had weeks where I've scored like in the 80s, and then I've also scored like 250 something. Like anything can happen depending on the matchup or a freak injury. So the least amount of chances you're going to take to get to the finale is like what you want. So I don't care if it puts me on like looking at the matchup between me and Zach. I had a preference towards the side of the bracket, but as long as I got one of the buys, I didn't really care because I just wanted to chop off 1 week at the playoffs and reduce my chances of having a bad week.
I think that's reasonable. Yeah. Jordan, what do you think?
I mean, I'll just echo what he said. There's so much variance in fantasy football. Even if you have a stacked team, there could be any given week. Like, I bet you could go back and even like the worst team in the league, you could find their best week and find all of our like worst week of the league. And if you were to put those together magically, then they could have beat any of the teams on any given week. Now, obviously, it's unlikely the worse the team gets, but in the playoffs, the teams are all going to be good. And we all agree the top like 5 of the 6 teams in the playoffs are good enough to beat any team on any given week. So it is a crapshoot. So skip around. That's huge. It's huge.
I love that you said 5 of the 6, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Zach, anything else to add to that really quickly?
I think that 5 out of the 6 is kind of a savage comment. Luke has put up some big weeks. He has put up some big weeks.
Before some huge injuries.
Yeah, I mean, it's early in the year, but he had some weeks where he scored like 160, 170. I'm just saying, it's in the realm of possibility. Anyway, the bye is huge. The bye is huge because instead of having to win 3 games, meaning your team needs to be consistent in scoring points for 3 straight weeks, you can have a week off where you only need 2. So, I mean, mathematically, it's huge.
The bye mattered a lot for me. And I lost it right at the end. My good luck was in the early part of the season. And there was a week where I beat Jordan by like less than a point. And then that made him go 0-2 versus me going 0-2. So there are those situations that happen, and now here we are. We ended up with the same record. The bye mattered for me because the last 2 years I went for it in the playoffs, and I didn't get it then, and I thought I had it this year, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's almost like a pride thing. I did luck out, and we can just talk about this now. I'm playing against the number 6 seed in the first round of the playoffs, who is just objectively like a tier below the top 5 teams in my opinion. I think he's had a surprisingly good year for the team he has, but then he had some big injuries that probably make him not super competitive in the playoffs. So this is where Jordan will slide in and say that I also have a bye this week, but anything can happen in fantasy football. So I don't know. I think the bye is huge. I'll just say that. I'll just agree with you guys. But I am curious, what is your guys' philosophy for the playoffs? Do you think that it's better to be the top team? Do you think that would you rather be the top team overall, or would you rather be the team that has been good lately? Zach, I'll start with you this time.
That's good to start with me. So, it's good to be the top team. No, I'm totally kidding, actually. I would much rather have a team that is scoring a lot of points lately than be the team. Like, I objectively would put my team at the 5th best chances of winning the league this year, including behind you 3 and behind Travis. I just don't think that this scoring has been there. In theory, it's possible. Anytime you have a team with Bijan and Chase, there's a possibility that you can score a lot of points. But philosophy going in, I would rather be the team that is scoring 200, 180 points, 170 points than the team that is barely for those that are watching, it just secured the number 1 seed by scoring 113 points. I won my matchup by less than 2 points and hit the median by less than 2 points. Like crazy stuff like that has happened multiple times this year for me. So I've been insanely lucky. That's the only way I have the number 1 seed. But I do not have the best team in the league right now. So I've got an uphill battle. It's
Jordan,
fair. I mean, it's just the truth.
Does anyone disagree? Let me just ask that question.
No, I don't disagree. And I have some guys coming back healthy. I have Bucky coming back, which was supposed to be a cornerstone of my team. He's finally healthy, and he's been playing well. So I think this past week wasn't a great week for me, but I think overall my team is actually hitting its stride, and I think I'm got as good a chance as I'm going to have. So I'm pretty happy with how it plays out.
Any other thoughts from you, Drew, before we move forward?
No, I don't know if I believe in momentum in fantasy or anything. I definitely want to be the healthiest team going into the playoffs.
That's fair. Yep.
So, and that's where having the bye from my team is huge, because I can sit out if T's out for a week with an injury, if London is still out, Omarion's still coming back. There's a lot of stuff going on with my team. That's if I can get 2 more weeks of them and it doesn't matter next week, that is huge for me.
I will say.
So I don't really need momentum. I just want to be healthier.
I agree with that, especially having Devon Achane get hurt last week is a cornerstone of my team, and he's questionable. He might not play this week, but thankfully I am playing the 6th seed, which there's no guarantees, right? But if I didn't have a bye, I'm thankful that I have the schedule that I have.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I would think that in Zach's assessment, I would put Zach at number 3, because I think the bye means that much. Between me and Travis, we're a 50-50 to come out of our matchup. So I think Zach, as a team, has a better chance just because of the bye alone, versus me or Travis have to win 3 games, and we're playing the first game against each other, which is probably a coin flip.
When you do the math like that, Zach, you have at least a 1 in 4 chance of making it, so that's better than 5.
That's true.
I want to talk narratives real quick. I think narratives are something that's really fun with fantasy football that often doesn't really get the attention that it deserves. And I'm going to kick it off with rivalries. I know out of anyone in this room, I probably have been the most vocal of this, that I feel like Drew and I is a rivalry, but it's like that one-sided rivalry, like when Michigan kicks the shit out of Michigan State every year, because that's Drew kicking the shit out of me every season. So that's my narrative this year, is that I've lost all of these games in a row, including the one that I should have won a couple weeks ago where you left the door open and my team didn't rise up. I've lost all those games so that I can beat you in round 2 of these playoffs if I can win in the first round.
He's calling a shot.
Right on. Yeah, I did look back. I went 2-0 against you this year, 2-0 against you last year. So, and I had eliminated you from the playoffs last year. So the last time you beat me was week 12 in the startup season, when I was trying to get the lowest draft pick I could get.
Yep.
Yep. Talk your shit. No, I'm just playing. No, That's why there's a bone to pick there. And it's not just that you beat me, Drew. It's that you score like the best score of your whole season every time you play against me, except this most recent time, which is why I'm even more mad that I lost.
Mm-hmm.
Any other narratives you guys can think of? I think it's fun to kind of think about stuff like that. Like Jordan, first time playoff appearance for you, right?
Yeah, I haven't had any rivalries because my team's been pretty terrible up until this year. So I'm trying to create some rivalries. I think I've scratched and clawed my way incrementally to making my team where it's at, and I'm pretty happy with where it's looking going forward as well. And so I think that's kind of the story. Just small wins over time since I've been since the rookie draft or the startup draft. But we'll see how it plays out.
Yep, and you are first time playoff appearer. Meanwhile, Drew is the defending champ, as we discussed earlier. So there's a lot at stake there. Holding the guard versus breaking the ceiling. And then we have Zach, who we've already discussed, just kind of snuck into the number 1 seed somehow.
Limped
I feel like Drew and I had like 200 more points than you on the season, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
That's fantasy football, right? And so the narrative, I think, for you, Zach, is the proof in the pudding, right? I belong here. And you do. Your team is that good. You've had some unfortunate breaks this year. So I think your narrative is like, can my team finally live up to its potential and prove like we belong as the number 1 seed? And I think when you put storylines to things, man, it just makes it so much more fun, I think.
Yeah. I got a feel to hammer home Zach's situation. So I'm looking at the closest margins of victory. Zach, you have the second. Zach, you won a game by 1.8, and then you won another game by 2.
Oh yeah, dog. I know. I'm aware.
But then right below that, Scott has the next 2, where Scott won a game by 3.5 and 3.68. So you guys both have had you could be 4 losses different.
Yep.
That's crazy. But then
I've
Scott's
lost the
also
median
had
by
really high
less than a
scoring.
point twice.
And I've hit it by yeah. So it's like I have been very, very lucky. You will not hear me say that I haven't been, for sure.
I know Scott and I have our little jokey rivalry. Zach and I have had quietly the number 1, 2 value dynasty teams basically since the first year of the league. And so we've had this unspoken who can accumulate the most value on their team sort of competition. Jordan and I kind of rebuilt at the same time. So we've just been trying to get the best team as fast as possible. Although I feel like I had a little more experience in dynasty, so I knew how to expedite that a little bit coming out of the first season. Travis and I obviously have our co-commissioner / buddy, and I beat him in the championship last year, so he's still upset about that. And then if Luke somehow gets past you, Scott, that is my brother-in-law I'd be playing, and I basically would lose because I gave him Sam Darnold and Javonte and Jameson Williams and Tyler Warren, and those guys would all play an impact. And I think I gave him draft picks that he made too that are in his lineup.
And the Luke story is a big one too, because we all do the preseason rankings, and didn't we all rank him as the bottom team in the league?
He was 10. Yeah, I think so.
And now here he is in the playoffs. So there's a little
him
chip
and
on the
Bryce.
shoulder. Yeah. And I know he's made some comments in the chat, so I know that chip is right there on the shoulder. Hell yeah. So hey, narratives. That's the fun thing about fantasy football league, is we've got the camaraderie and the social aspect to it too.
Yeah. And that's just leaving Ant and Bryce out of all of it too. There's a whole nother can of worms there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The league is full of personality, even in the non-playoff teams. I'm gonna kind of skip forward a bit here. One thing I think would be really fun for each of us to predict the championship match. And I'm assuming we're probably all gonna put ourselves there. I would think. But I'm pulling up the brackets. Oh, you're now damn, okay.
I mean, if I'm keeping it real.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach. Lead us off.
So I'm going to put Jordan in from my side of the bracket. His team is objectively better than my team right now. Now, I've been crazy lucky all year, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. So, maybe something happens and I can find my way in the championship. But I'm going to put Jordan in from my side, and then I think it's really, really tough between you and Drew going in that semifinal matchup. I'm going to go with the reigning champ, and I'm going to say Drew versus Jordan, and I think Jordan gets a dub.
Ooh,
I think Jordan is the league champion this year.
My guy.
Okay. Well, Jordy, follow that up. What do you think?
I'm going to do a hopeful thing, but maybe not as hopeful as Zachy, but I hope he's right. I was going to put myself against Drew, and I lose to Drew in the finals would be my... I think that it's going to be a high-scoring bloodbath between Drew and Scott in the semifinals, but I think Unfortunately, Scotty, I don't know if you're going to get over the hump.
That's all right. Drew,
We'll
what do you
see.
think? Please tell me yourself.
Although there's some tough matchups looking ahead to week 16, whoever I'm playing, like I got Stafford and Puka going to Seattle. Like that might not be ideal for that first playoff game, but I will take myself there. I think I got enough depth to fill it in. And I have Jordan beating me in the championship.
Ooh. Well, I'm going to change the tune here. There's got to be two different teams in the finals than what you guys are saying. I do agree. I think Jordan makes the finals this year. And I think that I beat him in the finals.
Could happen, man.
Anything could happen. It could literally be any of the 6 teams. I mean, that's the beauty of the playoffs is you got to make the dance and then the magic can happen. But one thing I will say, my opinion on the playoffs is that magic can happen once for an underperforming team. It's really hard to have it happen 2 or 3 times in a row. So I do think that it usually will come from a top 3 or 4 seed just because of that. And it could be any of us on this call here, but I'm hoping it's me.
All jokes aside, I think that if London and T are healthy, along with everybody else, I don't think you guys can beat me.
I think if London and T are healthy, your team scores 180 points minimum.
As me just pushing that out into the universe, I actually don't believe that at all. But I needed some good.
Hell yeah. Well, let's take a spin here because obviously all of our teams are hot right now, right? And so I want to ask the question, like, I think when it comes to dynasty, this matters, right? Zach, you're the number 1 seed. Your team is hot whether you like it or not.
Dude, I am the number 1 seed. You're right. That is factually correct. I
Pay
am
the man.
not hot.
Pay the man.
I am not hot. But
Let me just say, like in an ongoing league, like a dynasty league, what are the stakes when you make it this far and then you lose? And I can say this as the resident guy who got 2nd place and 4th place in the last 2 years. Like, there is a window, right? There's a window of opportunity with the team you have that you're building around before the whole of it is different. Thankfully, I think the way that I drafted, it's not necessarily like make it or break it this year for me, but I do think that my window is probably like 3 years out for me. Like I need to win soon. And so I will say, I'll just start this time, obviously. I'm already talking, but if I were to lose in the playoffs again this year, I would feel desperate to win within the next 2 years because if not, I don't know when I will win because the team I have is pretty full. I don't have a ton of depth on my bench, but I do have an amazing starting lineup. And so it's like, well, if I can't do it with this team, then when will I be able to have this good of a team again? And I think that's the scary part. Drew, maybe you take it from here. You've recently have rebuilt and then won. So like, what are your thoughts on something like that as someone in that situation?
Yeah, where like I mentioned when I was kind of walking through like where my team came from, like I did not expect to win it last year. Like I liked my team a ton, but I was pretty pessimistic going into the playoffs. So winning that one really took a lot of the pressure off this year, kind of like the Thunder winning last year in the NBA, where like they were kind of this up and coming team and they were the favorite, but now they won and now they're better this year and they're trying to prove that like no, I actually like built a really good team here and we're going to do this again. So that's what I'm going for in terms of like my team's overall, like let's reinforce, like actually make it a dynasty. We're playing dynasty. But having said that, like with how my team is structured coming off like the rebuild, I if people don't like end their careers way earlier than they should, like I should be in the playoffs probably for the next 6 to 8 seasons, you know, without trying that hard.
Yep. I would agree with that. Jordan, where's your head at? I mean, obviously this was the year that you were aiming to be competitive, right? So you've got years ahead of you, but even with that, making it this far, what is the pressure on your team this season?
I actually don't feel a ton of pressure because this was the year that I like wanted to come out of my rebuild and be competitive, which I feel like I've done. But also, if I look at my roster and I go down, I've got Mahomes and Dak who are going to be good with their contracts and their situation for 4 years, 3, 4 years, likely. I've got James Cook just got a contract. Bucky's young. I got CD with a contract. I've got Garrett Wilson with a contract. I've got Olave, who's a stud no matter what happens with his contract situation. I think Waddle's still a stud with the Dolphins. I just go down my roster, and I'm looking at all the guys I have, and I'm confident that in 3 years, almost all of them are still going to be relevant people on my team. So that was kind of my goal is like anybody I acquired or people I kept on my roster, I wanted like to have a really high confidence that they're going to be on my team for multiple seasons. So I don't know, 6 to 8 years, but I think for at least 4 years, I'm pretty confident that a lot of my dudes are going to be very relevant and will give me a shot to win every year for a while. Big pride.
Now I'm second guessing my own commentary because I think other than DK and potentially Kittle, like my whole team is still relatively young, but I just think building around the 2 QBs, man, like they're only going to be in their prime for a period of time. Especially, I think Lamar. I think Lamar falls off sooner than Allen because of the nature of him. Even though his passing has improved in recent years, it still is reliant on his mobility and his agility. Anyway, it's not my turn anymore. Zach, what's the pressure for your team this year? What are you feeling right now?
I don't feel a ton of pressure. I'm like, obviously on the episode, I've been fairly pessimistic, but also like trying to keep it real with how my team has been this year. But like, if I look at my team, I still feel pretty good about the guys that are on the team as far as like overall long-term potential goes. Still have a very young team, one of the youngest teams in the league if you're looking at like average age. I just want to say, I think all four of us on this call, barring something crazy, are going to be in the playoffs for the next 4 years, at least the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Now, there's some guys that have picks, and if they hit picks, or if the guys, don't do what they're expected to do or whatever, that could change. But I still look at my team, and I've had some guys not perform the way that they're, expected to. I still think Genty's going to be fine if they can get some, get something figured out with an offense in Oakland. You think that BTJ is at some point going to kind of bounce back closer to like a median, maybe not, if that was his ceiling, then maybe something in between what he's happened this year and the ceiling of what we saw. I don't know. I'm still pretty optimistic, like long-term with the team. I just don't think they do it this year. I was optimistic that I could win this year coming into the season. It just hasn't worked out that way, but long-term, yeah, I'm still happy with it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'd like to
make
make
a team that does have pressure to win this year.
What's up?
Jordan said he wanted to.
Oh, I think Jordan, say what you're going to say, and I can respond to that. But yeah.
Well, he's about to say Travis, and I think Travis definitely has the most pressure by far to win this year because he is the oldest team by far. But I was going to make a point, I wanted to say it, that I have no questions about Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be good, very good, and still going to be able to run, and he'll learn how to protect himself better. And I think the team was like an anomaly last year. I didn't think they'd be this far as far as regression this year, but I have no worries, honestly, long term with Jaden Daniels personally. For Zach's team.
Same.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's move forward here. There's a few things I want to make sure we touch on today. Comments that have been made between a few of us in passing. Jordan, I know you want to talk about Saquon Barkley and just kind of value in Dynasty. So I'm going to just give you the floor. Why don't you just take it away here?
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't discussed with all of you at length on this, so I'm genuinely interested in your opinion. But a lot of people, if you haven't played Dynasty, you kind of view players and picks as kind of like the stock market. So there's kind of you can imagine during the season, picks go down. Towards the draft, picks value goes up. Players who are older but producing, value goes up during the season, down in the off season. And so in terms of like philosophy, Saquon's like the perfect thing to study. So after last year, with his age, I don't think it's even then at the time, like you could admit, there's like a 0% chance that his value goes up any further hitting in the off season after last year, a historic season. As far as like the odds that he just repeats the next year are so low that he does the exact same season. He might be a running back one, but the odds that he does the exact same thing are just regression to the mean, like so low that it's almost like you're almost like need to move him for his max value. If it's a young player like a rookie, like a Jaden Daniels type, like he's young and you expect him to do something like that for years to come. Whereas Barkley, and being a running back, there's almost no chance that he's going to maintain or go any higher. So from a philosophy standpoint, how do you guys view really players popping off, moving players, and their value, and how you kind of manage your team?
Drew,
let's see.
First.
Yeah, go Drew.
Sure. And I can say, I have a couple comments. I have a pretty strong contender in another dynasty league that I made a trade for Saquon ahead of last season, which basically like helped me. It added him to Bijan, and I just like walked to the championship basically. But then I was very aware of like every YouTuber and podcaster had the same exact stat about a running back with this many touches, blah, blah, blah. Like basically all of them fall off the next year. And I think Saquon is that good that I genuinely think it's a bigger issue with like the Eagles offense and how they call the plays and some of the things that Jalen limits them to and their offensive line. And like, they're not the same team they were last year, in addition to maybe he's lost a step. But having said that, I was in the unfortunate position of like, I knew that I should move him, but I was also like a strong contender trying to repeat. And it's hard to replace Saquon points in your lineup without just giving him away for nothing. So at the time, like the trades you'd entertain were like O'Marion, like the 102, see if you could get O'Marion Hampton for Saquon. And even then, like Saquon's had a better year than Hampton, and who's to say he won't next year too? So that's the hard part where like if you have a contending team, like you really have to squeeze value out of that if you're really going to give him up. But I am with you. I think like objectively, he should have been sold after last season.
Yeah, I think at his age, it's really hard. And the years before that on the New York team where he just wasn't quite as good, those years when they were not good, it's almost like, holy shit, his value will never be higher than this. But also, it's tough as a fan, and especially if Saquon won you a league last year, I can imagine it'd be very hard to be like, here, have him, you know, because he very well could have been still the RB1 this year, like Jordan said, even if he had less stats. So it's very challenging. Zachy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to balance and to know when to pull that trigger and when it can burn you. If you make a trade, not specifically for Saquon, but let's say you go for a guy like James Conner, it's kind of down towards the end of his career and had been producing at a very high level coming into the season, and then he gets hurt, then like if you're looking at a dynasty league, it's a hard thing to balance. Like you want to be competitive for the long term, ideally. Like you're not just trying to like to win and have fun this season, the way that I'm looking at it. So, but then also you have, if you're trying to win right now, when is the right time to sell some of these young guys that maybe the potential's up in the air, but you don't know what you may be buying to help you win right now. Like I have Judkins and Genty on my team, and both I think can be potentially very good running backs for the future, but they're not necessarily like dynamite this year. So it's like a balance of, do I trade them right now to really go all in? But then whenever it comes to fantasy playoffs, all of us have said when it comes to the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. Anything can happen. So like, how much are you willing to give up in your young like prospects that you believe in? If you're like, oh, I could trade for Saquon Barkley, I could trade Genty and go get Saquon Barkley and then still not win the championship this year and then potentially be worse off in the future. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a delicate balance. It's not something that I have necessarily done well with in like in making the moves that I've made potentially, but you don't know. Like none of us know what's going to happen here. So
yeah, you really don't. And honestly, Zach, I'm so surprised that, and maybe they have, but I would be very surprised if none of the non-playoff teams came knocking on the door to try and get a sale on Genty because he hasn't been super great.
Not Genty. No one has come for Genty. Maybe they think he's untouchable, but I mean, no one has come for
he's
Genty.
Not exciting right now, but if you're not competing right now anyway, like, holy shit, why don't you get him now before they figure out that they need an offensive line on that team? And then all of a sudden he's a RB top 5 or 10, you know, like.
I mean, imagine him behind the Chicago Bears line right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that. The guy gets hit behind the line of scrimmage every play. Sorry, Jordan, go ahead. No.
I would just like to say, and I mentioned this to Drew like a while ago, that this is an indictment. I'm calling on you, all of the non-playoff teams in our league, that Travion Henderson should not be on Drew's roster. With how he started the year and how some of these teams were like doing really poorly, his value versus the draft had bottomed out. And I know Drew wasn't gonna give him away for free, but I bet if you gave him a tasty offer week, what was it? What was the a week or two before he popped, and they just weren't using him at all.
6 or
it's
so,
like,
probably.
It's like that would have been like the creme de la creme target because Drew's competing and he's looking for that draft pick to pop. And it's like there should have been a really competitive offer from a non-competitive team to grab Travion from Drew.
He was one, and I especially because he was in he was in every offer I was sending out. Like I was not like trying to get off my team, but I was trying to like tier him into something more sure. But I also I sent him in 2 firsts for Gibbs and got told no.
Holy shit!
Which it's a lot, but I mean that's a trade you would do. And then I also nobody's inquired about Jefferson through this entire season.
Oh, that's another one.
I don't understand why.
Criminal.
Yeah, I would trade Addison right now easily, but no one's asked. People asked before the season, but you would think if you're not going to make the playoffs, you would ask now, but no one did. It's weird. And Jefferson even more than Addison.
I'm just glad that a Rice for Jefferson trade never happened. Let's just throw that out there into the world.
I was going to ask you. So let me ask this first. Did any of you guys try to trade for Saquon from Tyler this year? Like since Jordan asked about Saquon?
I did.
I've never talked
I
to
texted
Tyler.
him. I'm just
gonna be honest,
but he never responded.
Gotcha. I texted him one time. We had a brief interaction, and then he didn't. I offered basically what Ant paid for Josh Jacobs. It was like a first and Woody Marks and a third. And this was back in week 4 where I thought it might turn around, buy a little low on him. and he wanted like Hampton and a first for Saquon, and I just said okay, and then moved on with my life. But I've been thinking about it all year, like I'm waiting for one of us to do it. It just never happened. Now he's stuck with Saquon for some reason.
I have thought about Saquon many times, but I've never spoken to the guy before, and without getting too political here, have heard enough that I was just like, not worth it.
Yeah, I tried to trade for Saquon before the rookie draft of this year, and I was not offering the 101, which was Genty, but it was like the 108 that I had, which ended up being Judkins, and it was like the 108 plus something. And it's been so long, I honestly don't remember what the offer was, but it would have been Judkins plus whatever it was, and it was just like definitely not was basically the reply. Actually, the reply was nothing. Actually, that was actually like I never got a response, so it was basically like that's not even in the realm of possibility. So
that one worked out.
Yeah.
And then now that the deadline is passed, I did have a conversation too about Rashee Rice for Jefferson, but I could never get to like the number or like to get enough back with Rice where it was worth it for me to get rid of Jefferson, even so short term. But I was aware that he was talking. I assumed I was waiting for the Jordan trade to come through with Rashee Rice because I figured you were talking to him at the last second.
Because the trade deadline is off. You want to know what the offer was that I didn't do live on the pod? The offer was Garrett Wilson and Kenneth Walker for Rashee Rice, and I said nay.
I'd say nay to that too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I was gonna possibly.
Wilson's in a bad spot now, and that would have made you better this year. But for future, I kind of like that you said nay.
Unofficial, exactly. And that's what I thought too, Scott. Especially with Walker on the last year of his contract, I think someone's going to pay him if it's not Seattle to go and start somewhere. So I think his value is actually going to go up, and Wilson's value is going to go up after his injury, and just I think it's not from where it is now at least. And I was pondering that deal, and then with Rice getting like Bryce's early second. That was a pondering one for a second to try and even out the value a bit. And I just like, you know what, I just can't do it. But that was like, he said no, he wouldn't consider that actually. Because I threw that out like unofficially. And he said he would not consider that. So then I stopped thinking about it. But that was the deal that I was going to like think hard about if he was down.
So real quick, I just want to interject. Wouldn't normally do this. Are y'all good still talking for a bit? It's been a long episode, but there's still a little bit more.
We can wrap. Yeah, we're good.
I'm down.
Okay.
I can hang.
Well, then I will tell you, Drew, that I was 90% going to have Josh Jacobs on my team.
Oh, I knew he was trying to get rid of him so bad.
And it would have been with a Chase Brown trade, which I wasn't super comfortable with because of Brown being really just less miles. He's only like 3 years younger, but way less miles. And his utilization was increasing. And it was mostly because of communication, which again, maybe this isn't a me issue, but the communication was annoying me. So I just stopped trying. And then you got him, and then that almost made me like regret it. But Brown has been pretty good the last few weeks. Yeah. He's actually outperforming Jacobs, so I'm kind of happy I didn't make a trade, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I deliberated over that one for a while, and then I eventually sent that to him after I finally was okay moving my first. I hate moving my first because I've told Jordan this a ton, but I have so much fun participating in the draft that I will sometimes like not make the smart fantasy decision just because I want to pick somebody in the draft. You know,
I don't know what that's like.
So, but with my injuries, which I've like mentioned previously in the pod, you know, I thought I needed one more like sure amount of points that I could plug in at any given point.
I thought it was a great trade for you for what it's worth.
Yeah, I do.
I wasn't really scared of Woody Marks, but I am scared of Josh Jacobs because I think the ceiling is so much higher with him.
I didn't actually inquire about Jacobs, and I guess the reason was I figured that he would want one of the players that I'm planning on starting probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I feel like it would lessen my options, and also Jacobs is a little older and going to be like on the decline versus some of the other players that I have. I felt less confident about his future long term, so I honestly didn't even inquire. I didn't see an offer from my side that I think I would have liked.
Yeah, and we had discussed this same offer like a month ago, and he didn't want to do it. But then Marks had shown enough since then that he was willing to take a chance on it. And I only did it because like I have all those other younger running backs that hopefully I can just slot them in for Jacobs down the road once he starts like really declining, if that happens. But yeah, I figured it was like Scott or Zach, honestly, talking to him about Jacobs.
I was talking
because you are, but then Jordan, you have so many pieces. I was waiting for you to consolidate into something ahead of the deadline.
Yeah, can you guys imagine having depth at running back? That'd be cool. I start Chase Brown and Devon Achane, and then I have Bucky Irving and Aaron Jones on my bench, and like that's it.
Going back to surprises, Jalen Warren was a surprise for me this year. I kind of lucked into that.
Mm-hmm.
He did better than I thought he would, especially after they drafted a running back like that they really haven't used very much.
Yeah.
Gainwell is their number 2. Like what? What the hell?
Yeah, wild.
Well, Drew, I know you had a couple questions. I'm going to focus on one of them because I think this one is especially important to ask. Hypothetically, this is more of a philosophy, a what if type of a situation here. But boys, who is one player that you would love to have a share of in a dynasty league to just have for their career currently that you don't have in any of your leagues? And I'll start with Jordan this time.
I got to go with what hurts the most, like Rascal Flats.
So close.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
That's exactly right, because I drafted him in
I already
the
knew it.
3rd round, 4th round, or I can't. No, maybe not, I can't remember. I had to go back and look, but it was early-ish. That was his when he was the rookie. He would have been drafted that May. We started the league in like that summer, June, July when we did the draft, and so I drafted him in the startup draft. And then
he was like the number 3 because they still had DK and Lockett back then, right?
Correct, and he like had an okay rookie season, and then I think it was after that season. Fun trade. I remember what it was. It was I traded away Jackson Smith and Jigba and Justin Herbert for Brock Purdy, Olave, and I think a future 2nd or 3rd. Is what it was at the time. And in retrospect, I was pissed.
I just want to go on the record that back then I even said I disagree with that trade.
Right, but
hindsight. But now it's hindsight.
So much had changed with like at that time. My thought process was Geno Smith. I don't think he's going to be there long term. DK at the time, I thought they were going to re-sign him, so he was going to be the alpha. So it's like, what's the ceiling for JSN? I still believed in Olave, even though the team was bad. I thought he's just the guy. And then Purdy at the time was scoring just like Herbert was, or better.
That's fair.
Actually, at the time. And then I got a pick on top of it.
Like one really good year, and then he went down a little bit. And
then I got the pick
until his injury.
And there was a pick on top of that. So if I thought that about the players and then I got a draft pick on top, it seemed like a win for me. Honestly, at the time, I was actually very happy with the trade. And obviously, in hindsight, not great.
Can I tell you guys, I know this is going way off script, but can I tell you guys about something I'm really proud of this year? I had no backup quarterback on my team at all. I only had Lamar and Allen. And on their bye weeks, which happened to be on the same week, I had nobody. If you guys remember.
I remember.
I traded Jerry Jeudy and like a 3rd round pick for Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. And holy shit,
Great trade.
Metcalf has been way
That's
better
a
than
top
Jeudy
5
this year.
trade of the year.
That worked out. Yeah.
Amazing.
Incredible trade.
That fell in my lap too. We were like negotiating, and then he had offered more than I was willing to give. And I was like, sorry, man. Like, I would love to have DK shares, but I'm not going to do that. And then like 4 hours later, he's like, what about this? And I was like, I hit accept so fast on that shit.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. That's the
he was going through that phase where he just like looked at the number in the age column next to every player he had, and then just tried to find somebody that had a smaller number and just shipped him off his team.
Yep. And like Jared Jeudy,
I bought
had
them
a great
all.
finish to last year, right? But like, where was he his whole rest of his career? And with an uncertain quarterback situation, I was like, please get him off of my team.
Great trade.
All right, let me go back to my question here. I think I started with Jordan. Zachy, who's a player you would love to have a share of a dynasty that you do not currently have?
So I'm gonna get some flack for it, but Caleb Williams.
I thought he was going to say Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I would love to have him. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have Rashee Rice. I would love to have Caleb Williams. Honestly, Dynasty League it's something, it's every year, and it's fun to have guys that you want to root for. Right? Like, it's one thing, you want to win games. Like, obviously winning is fun. We like to win. But also, like, you want to have you want to have guys on your team that you want to root for. So, like, I just made a trade for Rome. I'm hyped about that trade. And then I find out he has a stress fracture in his foot the week after I make the trade. Bummer.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
It's tough.
But also another reason that bye weeks are important, because maybe he sits out this week. Maybe he's good to go. I don't know what that's going to look like, but Rome could end up being an impact player come playoff time here. We'll see. I don't know. But I would love to have Caleb Williams. I've inquired before the season. Basically, the other Bears fan in our league has him. He's not going anywhere. I've inquired. It's not happening. It'd just be fun. From a fun aspect, it would be like that. That's
reasonable. I like that. Drew, what about you?
Yeah, I am blessed to have shares of a lot of players since I'm in 3 dynasty leagues, and I kind of try to spread out stuff, like I try to get different players in different leagues so I can experience it. Jordan's just a bully. My what hurts the most, as Jordan put it, would definitely be like trading away Gibbs. I wish I had that one back. Because that'd be really fun to have a dynasty share of him, and I don't. But the less obvious, like not like S tier player, I really like Nico Collins, and I don't have him in a single league, and I think he's a stud.
I actually have Nico in 2 leagues this year. which is 2 more than I had last year. You kind of stole my thunder there, Drew. So I'm going to think about
I'm
this
so
for a
sorry.
minute. Gibbs was my answer, especially because I lived in Michigan for the first 2.5 years of this Dynasty League. I got to watch every single Lions game, and I love watching Gibbs play football. But I'm just scrolling my phone right now because there will be somebody else that I wish I had. You know what? It's Jamar Chase. I don't care about this season. It's Jamar Chase. I would love to have him on my team.
So you can't go. I mean, you can't go wrong with that pick.
There's a really, I think, important question that I would love to ask you guys. And I know you've seen this question ahead of time, but this is relating to life and not so much fantasy football, but still fantasy football. All 4 of us are fathers. All 4 of us are married. And I think all 4 of us are good husbands and fathers. I'm quite confident about that. I would love to talk to you guys about running a fantasy football team, especially in a dynasty league where the season never really ends, and being a present family member. So maybe like think about things like what challenges exist with balancing family life and staying on top of sports, and how do you keep up with sports, especially watching football games or any sports games, and still being a present family member. And what lessons maybe have you learned? Especially I'm looking at maybe Drew and Zach, who have older children than Jordan and I have. Like maybe what lessons have you learned throughout your life of like balancing that? And Drew, I'll start with you. It's a loaded question. I know it's a lot. It's a lot to
You
unpack.
threw a lot at me there.
This could be a whole podcast.
Yeah.
But let's try and do like a 5 to 10 minutes of like just discussing this.
Sure. I am on Sleeper, probably is like the app I'm on the most on my phone outside of like some utility apps and stuff. It is really funny how often I'm just like plotting the next move, or just like chopping it up in the league chat, or, trying to balance bye weeks and schedules, or engaging, like we used to do the newsletter for the league and stuff like that.
I missed that.
And it just took too much. It took so much time with a kid though.
I can imagine.
But I don't know. I'm on it a lot, but I try to limit it to just like on Sundays, my phone's just like in my hand all day. I'm not like I'm not at the park with Amelia and then also on my phone doing trades. Like I set kind of boundaries where like I'll leave my phone in the car, or like do stuff like that while we're out doing stuff. But then besides that, now that she's older, I mean, I still have football on all Sunday and Monday night, but I just have to like try to really engage with her as I'm watching it, and like let her ask questions, or like have a football in our hands and like tossing it around, or like goofing around playing games while football's on. Because now that like she's 4, she's like recognizes certain players or certain teams. She recognized Patrick from all the commercials that he's in. And she's always like, "Dad, is it a football night?" Like every morning when she wakes up now. Mostly because if it's a football night, she gets to stay up a little later, and she just likes having something on it. But I don't know. It's just you like engage with them in the weird hobby that we have that we think way too much about, and don't just like lock it on your phone and ignore your family. Hot take.
I think that's pretty reasonable advice there. Zach, I know we have had some discussions about this before, so I'm going to go to you next, and I want to just kind of hear your thoughts. So again, what are the challenges with balancing? How do you keep up with like knowledge and also watching and also being present with the family? And then what maybe lessons have you learned for the past 5 years? 4 or 5?
For Emmy? Emmy will be 4. Emmy will be 4.
4.
Yeah,
okay.
She's not quite 4. Not quite 4. Yeah, it's honestly, it's super tough. There's definitely been times that I am 100% confident that Ashley wanted to kill me and throw my phone through a wall. It's something that I have like personally, like legitimately like worked on, especially like over the course of this season, just like not being like, so first of all, I'm like kind of a psycho, and like, even like whenever there's not like it's off season and I'm like looking at trades that I could be making, I'm throwing stuff in trade calcs, and Ashley's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to make trades for my fantasy football team." And she's like, "Is there even fantasy football playing?" I'm like, "No, there's not, but that's not the point, okay? Like, I'm building, all right?" So, like, I joke about it, but, like, for real, like, it's definitely something, like, I'm passionate about it, and I love it, and she knows that I love it, and also, like, she supports that, but there's times where she's like, "Okay, like, you gotta, can you get off there, or can you not be looking at that?" So definitely, like, as the season has gone on, I've been more focused on not trying to let it like be my life, basically, like on game days, I'll try to watch Bears games, but I'm not watching football like all day long. And there's times that I'll just literally turn off notifications on the Sleeper app on like game days. I'm like, my lineup is set. All my lineups are set. And my, like, whether I look at what the score is, it does not matter. Like, the score is going to be what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. I'll just turn off notifications, and like, I'm not checking ESPN. I'm not checking scores. I'm just like, I'm totally distancing myself, and then I'll come back and see, okay, like what happened? How are my guys doing? But like before, I'd be at a point where I'm constantly checking. Did my guy score? Did my guy catch a pass? Did my guy run a ball or whatever? And I sometimes still have a tendency like to do those things. And so if I catch myself doing it, I'll just try to kind of dial things back and be more present. But yeah, it's like a legitimate, like it's definitely a thing where I have to like specifically be cognizant of it, that I'm not just letting it like run my day whenever I'm off work with my family.
That's fair. No, I feel that. Jordan, any thoughts that you have? I know you're a new dad, but you're still a dad in a very active stage of fatherhood. So talk to me about that, and also a husband.
Yeah, for sure. And I won't be too long-winded here, but I echo what Drew and Zach had said. Trying to establish more boundaries, and the biggest thing is like I don't have to watch it. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I set my lineup. I can catch up on the highlights. I can catch up on kind of what's going on and still be in the loop. I'll catch SportsCenter or whatever you have at the end of the day. And also just expressing to Jenny, my wife, that obviously the family comes first. Like it's football, it's fantasy, like it is what it is. Like I enjoy it. I enjoy checking it and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's way, way, way down the list from my family. And so just trying to put that in perspective, putting some boundaries on there. But it is sometimes, a good example was my Bucky CD trade. That took probably from like 1 o'clock to like 5 o'clock. Like it probably took a good 3 to 4 hours of just constant messaging in the Sleeper app. And so I think Jen was definitely annoyed, but I was just in the war room with that one. So that was one where I'm like, I think we're gonna get this done. I gotta get it done, type of a thing. And so that was one where we were just at home, just like kind of like we weren't. It wasn't like I was in like out doing something specific, but it was just one of those things. And so those times are kind of hard, but for the most part, it's you gotta put it in context.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that you guys have said. So I'm not gonna belabor my answer too much, but you guys know I'm long-winded, so I'll still talk here. It's the same thing. Like I think the biggest thing first comes down to like the communication with your wife. Like if we're on the same page, then parenting becomes easier, right? So, like if there's something happening, I'm usually like, hey, I'm talking about a trade right now, or like this game really matters for my playoff potential, and I'm gonna be like watching my phone a little closer. But when it comes to actually like the phone notifications, because let's be honest, I don't pay for NFL Sunday tickets, so I can only see 1 or 2 games at a time, right? When it comes to like the phone notifications, I'm actually the opposite, Zach. I turn every notification on, but I set the phone next to me and I don't hold it. And so for me to have to like see if a touchdown happened, unless, well, this is gonna sound really bad, unless I'm driving. If I'm on my couch or like playing with my son, it's next to me. It's not in my hand, or it's in my pocket. And I only look at it periodically, and then I scroll all the big plays or all the touchdowns. I literally go to ESPN and I alert it like every touchdown and end of game for every single game every Sunday. But then I try and not look at it except for intervals so that I can like, because my son doesn't know what the hell's going on, right? Like he's just running around the house, like having fun. And the very worst thing that could ever happen, and it has happened, I'm a human, is when my son is like super excited about something and he's trying to show it to me, and I'm like, phone is right in front of my face, and that makes me feel like shit. But like that's my strategy, and I'm not perfect. I still look at it a lot, but that's my lesson learned, is kind of like out of hand gives me more control of when I look at it, versus like if it's always there, I'm just constantly looking at every notification, touching the button. So I don't know. I think this is a topic that affects a lot of men that we don't really talk about, because we love sports and we love being family members, and blending the two is sometimes hard. So hopefully there's some value in having that conversation, but there's really no perfect way to do it that I can come up with. I like just kind of hearing about other people's perspectives. Cool. Well, thank you guys for being vulnerable fathers with me for a minute. Listen, we've been going for a while now. Do you guys want to do the Sporkle, or do you just want to move forward and do some picks?
I don't know what Sporkle is.
I feel like we've come this far. We might as well keep going.
Drew, you might have predicted this episode correctly. Drew said 3-hour episode.
Yeah, I knew it.
All right, so listen, this is going to be it's basically a stats quiz. It's a quiz about stats, and it's going to be about the NFL. And I'm going to give you guys a lot of options, because I know, especially Jordan, I know you weren't like following it as closely as you do now. For like 10 years ago, you didn't follow it as closely as you do now, right?
Correct. Oh yeah, for sure. I was out on the NFL for a long time.
So here are your options, and this basically it's about statistics. NFL stat leaders for each year from 2010 to 2020, and that includes like defensive stats. So that might be tough. NFL first-round quarterbacks since 1983, which also might be NFL. No, not that one. We did that in last week's episode. NFL last 4 1,000-yard receivers for each team, which is a lot harder than it sounds. 2020s 3,000 plus pass yards. So anyone in the last 5 years, 4 years really, not this season, with 3,000 plus pass yards. NFL 2020s 1,000-yard rushers. So everyone that had 1,000-yard rushing in the last 4 years, or NFL 2020s 1,000-yard receivers.
And we're tag teaming this, or this is just
we're all working together. We're all together on this. Yeah.
All right.
So those are your categories. And basically how it goes is like you yell out a name, I type it, and there's like a spreadsheet with all the answers, and it'll fill it in if we're right.
I say we do 2020s, either rushers or receivers, 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which one do you guys want to do? I feel like one or the other.
I'm not choosing.
Receivers.
Sure.
Receivers.
Yeah,
All right.
Jamar Chase.
Well, hold on. Haven't started yet. I'm going to put it on the screen. Can you guys all see the screen? I guess I should have asked that.
Not right now.
I cannot yet. No.
Well, I haven't shared it yet, but
Oh,
like
okay.
you all have a screen in front of you, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So let me try and format this a little
Okay.
bit.
Yo.
Oof. 118 names. All right.
Boy, let's get it.
So we
There's
have
118.
12 minutes to get 118 players.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Oh, it has the teams though. At least it has the teams.
Yeah. No, it has information. I'm just trying to figure out where I type at. I did this on my phone the last
You
time
hit
I
play
did it.
quiz maybe.
Once you hit play quiz, does
Yeah,
it?
you're right.
It'll start
you're
it.
right.
It'll probably
Yeah.
give you a field.
Yep.
Oh, and it has the
You're right.
yardage too.
We're gonna have to try to not talk over each other because 118 is crazy. All right,
Well,
let's get
If
it.
you guys just shout them out, I'll type them. Let me take a sip because I'm not going to get one for a minute.
You're gonna have to type fast.
I hope I can. Been drinking. All right, go.
But Jamar Chase.
Puka.
Yep.
Puka.
CUA.
Wait, did I
Yep.
spell it wrong?
Yep.
Jefferson.
Oh, that's
Cup.
a lot of them.
Collins.
Okay,
Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb.
good.
Garrett Wilson.
McLaurin.
Devontae Adams.
You guys are crushing this.
Stephon Diggs.
Who was the Cleveland
Evans.
wide receiver last year? Evans did a lot of them.
I'm on our St.
Brown.
2024.
St.
Yeah,
Brown.
I'm on Ra.
I got AJ Brown. St. Brown's on there.
Did
Antonio Brown. I'm just kidding.
Well, it gets all Browns, so that's one thing that's nice.
Kelsey?
BTJ, right? We were
Yeah,
getting
BTJ.
Is it wide receivers
TJ.
only?
Kelsey, no,
counts. Cool.
yeah, Kelsey's
Oh,
on there.
okay.
No, I didn't
McCaffrey.
get Thomas.
DeAndre Hopkins.
There we
DK
go.
Metcalf.
Hopkins. No, did I spell it wrong? Yeah, I did.
There it is.
San Francisco
DJ Moore.
2021. Is it
Ayuk.
Oh, Ayuk. Yep.
if not Debo.
DJ Moore.
Yep. DJ Moore is gonna be on there.
Got Ayuk, Moore, TL
San Francisco.
2020. Is it,
Did we say Keenan Allen?
Julio
Keenan
Jones.
Allen.
No, we didn't.
Keenan Allen.
Julio Jones.
Okay. Yeah, Julio Jones.
No Jones.
No?
He must have been done by
I guess
then.
Drake
not since-
London.
Yeah, not since
London.
2020?
Cortland
He was
Sutton.
2024.
Sutton.
Got Sutton.
Who
we missing?
Olave's
Like,
hit 1,000, right?
Yep.
Lad
Couple times.
McConkey.
We got
did I spell it right? Yeah, I did.
Na-
DeVonta
Neighbors.
Smith.
Bowers. Did Bowers get 1,000 last year?
I think so.
Yep, he
T.
did.
Higgins.
Amari Cooper.
Yep, Cooper a few times. Who was the Raiders last year? Myers?
Michael Pittman.
Myers,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jacoby.
Yeah, Jacoby. Nice. Pittman.
Okay, Pittman was a few times.
Andre-
San Francisco
he's gone, right?
2021.
Eckler. We get Eckler already?
Who's Houston in
How do you spell
2020?
Eckler?
I think EKELER.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not on there.
Okay.
How do you
Did
spell
you Metcalf?
Was it-
McCaffrey? Has he ever done that? Yeah, he got Metcalf.
Did we get Debo?
No, I did not get
Did-
Debo.
Did he do 1,000?
Yeah, he
Think
did.
so?
That
Yeah.
was
Cool.
him. ATL 2020.
Atlanta 2020 is not Julio Jones.
London?
No. Neither.
21 was it not?
White?
Anquan,
No.
Anquan Bolden was gone, right? Who's 21?
Oh,
was that
for
him?
sure. Yeah, for sure. He was
Was it
gone.
21?
Yeah, he was gone. He was gone in like 2013. or
Sorry,
something.
I told you there's a blind spot for me. Who's Atlanta in 2020?
Who was Arizona? Harrison? No. Who was
No,
that
he hasn't
Arizona
got
last
1,000
year?
yet.
Last year there was someone.
McBride?
Yeah, McBride.
Yep.
On the left side, Atlanta 2020, 1,300 yards. Who's that? Baltimore 21.
Uh,
What about Waddle?
Yeah, Waddle. Waddle should
Yep.
be on there.
That
Yep.
was a few of them. Let's scroll.
We're getting close.
Chicago 2020.
Oh gosh. 2020.
Carolina 2020.
You did Mike Evans, of course. Godwin, did he have 1,000?
Yep, just got him.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco 2024 has got a few. Oh, it's got to be Kittle, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
There we go.
Nice.
Jacksonville 2022. Seattle 2024.
man.
Lockett's got to be on there. Yep. He
Oh,
is.
Calvin
Yeah.
Ridley.
Ridley's got to
Yeah,
be on
Ridley.
there. Yep.
There's Ridley.
Is
Nice.
he
Atlanta
the Atlanta
2020.
one? Yeah.
Baltimore 21. Who's that?
No.
Who would have been there in
No.
21?
Hollywood? Did Hollywood ever hit 1,000?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, he didn't. Holy shit.
No.
Chicago
Damn.
2020.
What about,
1,200 yards, Zachy.
Who's the
I'm
Baltimore tight
thinking.
end? Baltimore tight end.
Mark Andrews.
Jackson
is.
Smith and Jigba.
2020.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Pitt,
did you say Pickens?
2023 Pickens. Yep.
Alshon Jeffrey? Maybe?
Nah, he was
No?
older
Damn.
than that.
Okay. I couldn't
Who was
remember
in
if he was still
Cleveland
there in
last year? Oh,
2020.
Judy.
Yeah.
You did Keenan Allen, right?
Yeah.
Mike Williams.
Yep. Nice.
Good call.
Houston
Nice.
2020. We did Hopkins, right? Who else was in Houston? We also have Jacksonville 2022, Carolina.
Was that Christian Kirk?
Oh, that's a
Yep.
good call.
Good call. In the 2020, Carolina 2023, so just 2 years ago. Before Tet, who did they have?
Was DJ?
We did more already.
Look at the Chicago in 2020.
Oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't know.
It's
You
also
should be.
Chicago
For
2021.
Vegas, is what about Renfro? Did he get 1,000 yards?
Yep.
Nice, dude.
Houston
Chicago-
in 2020.
Vegas. Is this Raiders? Yeah, it's Raiders, obviously. Pittsburgh.
Antonio Brown. Who has
Did
this
Kyle Pitts get
2021?
1,000
Wait,
yards?
Johnson. No, we did that already though, right?
Who was
Oh,
in
we didn't.
there?
it was.
Yeah, there you go.
Deontay.
Houston in 2020.
Shit. These are going to piss you off too when we see them. So we're looking at Chicago
Yeah.
2020, Carolina 2020, Houston 2020, Vegas 2020.
Chicago
We suck at
21. It's probably the
2020.
same guy. It's probably Chicago
He's probably
20
the
and
same
21.
guy. Yeah.
Carolina could be too.
If only we had a Bears fan that could help us out.
I know, that'd be awesome.
Savage. Oh, man.
Houston 2020.
It's literally like Chicago is like 4 of them, Zach. We need you, bro. We need you.
I'm sorry, man. I'm
Darnell Mooney never got 1,000 yards, did he?
Oh, he might have. Darnell Mooney?
Yeah, he did.
Let's
That was one of
go.
them.
One of them.
That's one of them. Okay.
So Houston 21 also, and we had 2020.
1250.
Is Jacoby Meyer anywhere in here? Or is he?
Yeah,
oh, you already
we
got
had
him.
We did
already.
it. Yeah, we got him.
We also have Hopkins. Who else was on Houston back then? We got Christian Kirk. Did they have a tight end? Like, it's not Schultz. Okay.
Wait, think of any tight ends maybe that might be throwing it off.
Yeah, like maybe a good tight end. Zach, tight
I
ends
mean,
for the
Cole
Bears.
Kmet? Cole Kmet? But, like,
How do you spell that?
Just
Yeah,
one
yeah,
team.
KMET. Yeah, I mean,
Pitts never got 1,000 his rookie year, did
He
he?
did. Yeah,
Okay.
Pitts was on there. So we got Carolina, Houston,
2 years.
Carolina, Chicago.
We know who was on Carolina in 23.
Deontay Johnson.
Well, we got that. Shit. Who else? How do you spell McCaffrey? Oh, that's a good one. Yep, that was
let's
fun.
go.
Yay!
Got
5
one.
more. How do you spell McCaffrey?
E.
Can someone look? I'll look.
MCC
MCC.
AF. Did you just spell the whole thing or just a partial?
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
RUY.
Maybe 2 Fs?
2 Fs.
Is it maybe 2 Fs? Yeah.
No.
1 C? What's every variation?
No, shit. I mean,
Gosh.
who was good on the freaking Panthers?
in 2020?
Greg Olson wasn't playing there, was he?
No,
He was old.
that's too long.
Yeah. Steve Smith was long gone.
Yeah, Steve Smith is gone.
Yeah, 23, because there was like DJ Moore was already on the Bears, right? in
On the
23.
Bears. Yeah, in 23.
Who was
But
in
also there's
Carolina?
Carolina 2020. Carolina 2020.
Houston
Was
21.
Thielen there?
Adam Thielen.
Yeah,
Nice. You got
nice.
Thielen.
Nice. Because didn't Travis have him? It was going crazy.
So
Or
we
was
got
it Ant?
Yeah, that's how I got Garrett Wilson.
4 left. Oh, and they're all older. 2020, 2020.
It's this Houston guy.
2021.
Also Vegas
Unfortunately-
2020.
Unfortunately, I'm going to need you guys on this. I didn't really follow it back then.
Did Tank Dell ever get 1,000?
No. Did we try Collins? Yeah, we did. Robbie Anderson?
Oh my
Chosen?
gosh.
Oh, that was some. We need Houston 21, Houston 2020 was probably the same person, in Vegas 2020. Oh my gosh.
And we did Amari Cooper, right?
Yeah.
What other?
Ah, man. Houston is 2 of them. 20. It's got to be the same guy, right? 2020
Yeah.
and 20. Did Dalton Schultz, was he still there in 2020 and
I
20?
tried that already.
No. What about Darren Waller for Vegas?
Yes.
Oh my god,
Baller's
if we get the
good.
Houston guy.
Baller's
Come on.
good.
We need the
We
Houston
gotta
guy.
get the Houston guy. We got 2.5 minutes. Man, Houston in 2020 and 2021.
Don't make fun of me for saying this. It wasn't Andre Johnson.
No, it wasn't.
No, it's
What about hold on. Brandon Cooks?
There it
There
is.
it is.
Let's go.
All right.
He did it.
Holy
pretty impressive.
shit.
let's go.
I know there's duplicates, but that's kind of that's pretty good. I think
Nice.
Average score is 91%. We got 100.
it helps. I mean,
Holy
if you
go.
give the
That's
team the
sick.
year and the yards, that definitely like
Mhm.
helps a lot. You just go down the. I just started on the far left and just went down and just like
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious who it had to be.
So
That's
so,
nice.
so
Nice.
Sporkle's super cool, boys. Sporkle's
Yeah, that's
awesome.
cool.
All right, sick. Well, thank you guys. I'm actually impressed. I didn't think we'd get 100%. I'm gonna go to let's do some picks. NFL, just NFL. Actually, you know what? Who do you think will win the college national championship? We're just gonna skip straight to that. And I will tell you guys first. All season has been Georgia. Zach, who do you think is gonna win college football national championship?
Dude, I think there's a lot of teams that could win. I'm gonna go with back-to-back champs, Ohio State.
Nope. We got to ban that from the podcast.
Sorry.
Jordy, what do you
That
think?
was going to be my pick as well. I think they're
You guys
just
are-
going to
You
do
guys are
it.
gross. You guys are gross.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
No, you're right. You're right. You don't think Indiana will beat them?
I mean, I
He
hope.
said nope.
I
He
hope.
said nope.
I hope.
Drew, what do you think? What do you think, Drew?
Indiana.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, I love it. I love it. I hope so, man. That'd be sick.
I
They're
kind
on
of
the
wish.
easier side of the bracket.
They are.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
if they can get through Bama, they probably win that side of the bracket. I'm just going to
Kurt
stick with Jordan
Cignetti.
because I've said it all along. I can't switch now. You know what I mean? Let's dive into NFL. Boys, this is it. NFL picks for the biggest games. The top one really matters to me. It really matters. Bill going to New England to play the Patriots, and the Patriots beat them in Buffalo, but it's cold now. Bills are -1.5. They're the favorites. Jordan, who you got? Drew?
Bills.
Zachy?
Bills.
You guys passed the assignment. It's the Buffalo Bills, boys. Put a buck on it.
Do you guys agree that Buffalo should be getting points going to New England?
I do.
No.
Or giving points going to New England? That's crazy.
Yeah, no,
isn't it?
I agree with what it is. I actually, if it was 2.5, I could see it because I think they win by at least a field goal. Chargers visiting the Chiefs. Now this is controversial. Chiefs are -4.5 point favorites. I understand Herbert has a broken offhand. That's a big deal. Chargers beat them in San Diego, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. Jesus Christ. One of those California cities. Zach, we'll start with you. Chargers or Chiefs with the spread? Chiefs are
Yeah.
4.5 point favorites.
Chargers with the points. Yeah.
Jordy.
I actually, one thing we didn't talk about was the Chiefs' defense was actually like incredible this past week, like really, really, really good. If they can figure out their offensive line, I think the Chiefs will win, especially with the points. But I actually don't know the state of their
Chiefs
line.
are favorites.
Will they win
Oh,
by
the Chiefs are-
4.5?
Oh, sorry, the Chiefs are favorites. Then I'll take the Chargers. Yeah, with the points.
Drew, what do you got?
Yeah, I have to take the points without knowing the state of the O line.
I'm going to be the odd man out. I'll chew on my socks next week, but I'll take the Chiefs. I'd put the money on that. And I don't know what that does for the playoff picture, but they got an uphill climb.
Eh,
They do have
Next
an
biggest
uphill climb.
one, this is by the record, not necessarily by the value next week. But the Colts are going to Seattle to play the Seahawks. Obviously, we know what happened with the Colts last week with their quarterback injury. Seattle is a 13.5 point favorite, though. So who do we got? Drew, you're first this time.
it is a big number, but I'm still taking the Seahawks, especially if it's in Seattle, right? Yeah.
It is. Yep. Jordan? Sorry,
I
nodding.
think the points are too big. Actually, I'm gonna take the Colts with the points. I
Okay.
don't think they're gonna win, but that's so big.
Reasonable. Zach, how about you?
I'm going to take the Colts with the points as well. Same as Jordan. I don't think they will win, but I think they can cover 2 touchdowns.
I could see this being like a 27-10 type of a game. So give me the Seahawks here. And the big one here. I love this game. Lions are going to the Rams. Rams are 5.5 point favorites. And if you think about this, this is really the Lions have to win this to have a chance of winning their division. Right?
No.
So Zach is in. You think they win by 5.5?
No, I don't actually, but sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Make your pick. Make your pick.
I think I would take the Lions actually. Not to win, but I think they'll cover 5.5.
Jordy?
Lions
First
to
game.
cover.
Drew?
I'm going to take the Rams. I think Detroit's defense is still getting banged up, and it's Jared Goff, so they're not going to look ahead, even though they have Seattle the next week. But I think the Rams take care of business.
I hope so.
Give me the Lions here. I don't
Yeah.
know that I feel very confident, but would be cool. Would be awesome. And a part of me still belongs in Michigan, where I watch the Lions play multiple times a week. So, all right, boys, let's do some questions here. 2-minute warning coming up here. Going to be the most random questions you could ever imagine. And we'll see if you like them or not. I'm going to call you guys out by name. We're just going to do one person for each question. On the order of my screen is Jordan, you're first. So you are going to be first. And the question is, would you rather spend 24 hours locked in a gym with Draymond Green or 24 hours at a press conference with Aaron Rodgers?
Draymond Green, I actually think could be some pretty fun basketball.
Okay. Drew, would you rather get trucked by Saquon Barkley or dunked on by Brittany Griner?
Trucked by Saquon.
Okay. Zachy, would you rather play an entire... We'll go basketball here. Would you rather play an entire game wearing flip-flops or wear goggles that are fogged up with your sweat?
Oh, dude. Goggles? I guess.
All right, Jordan. Would you rather be roasted by Pat McAfee live or hugged for too long by Roger Goodell?
Roasted for sure.
Drew, would you rather forget all your plays in the Super Bowl or call a timeout when you actually didn't have any left?
Oh my gosh. Forget all the plays. I feel like that image of the ghost timeout that sticks with you.
That's a clip for sure. All right, Zach, would you rather have to run the stadium stairs with Andy Reid or eat dinner with Joey Chestnut?
Oh, Andy Reid for sure. We're not going fast. We're not going fast on the stairs.
Bro, but Joey Chestnut, bro. Jordan, would you rather only talk in sports cliches for 24 hours or narrate your entire life like Gus Johnson?
Sports cliches for 24 hours. I do that anyway.
Drew, would you rather get tackled into a Gatorade table or crash into a nacho stand during a game?
Gatorade table.
Zachy, you're the last one here. Would you rather have to guard Prime Shaq or race Tyreek Hill in flip-flops?
Oh my gosh. Tyreek Hill and flip-flops.
Yep.
I agree.
That's the right answer.
All right, boys. Longest episode we ever did. I really, really enjoyed the hang. We didn't play any games tonight. Actually, let's just go off script one more time. We're already here. If you guys are watching, we play Baldur's Gate 3 together, and we're badasses. We're badasses. Jordan, what class are you? Jordan, what is your character?
I'm a monk, a Yankee monk, and I'm dipping into rogue at the end, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I didn't know that, actually. I don't think I knew that. Okay. You're a fisticuff guy, like just beating asses. Zach, what are you playing?
I am a half-elf draconic sorcerer. We throw fireballs at everybody.
Love it. Drew, tell us about you.
I am a baddie wood elf light cleric who
He's a baddie,
just here for a good.
Yeah, he ain't here for a long time, but he's a baddie, and he's here for a good time. And I am a half-orc blue orc that looks like Beast from X-Men. And I play a very defensive Sentinel Striker Paladin that does heavy damage on crits and nothing else. Hell yeah. All right. Well, last call, boys. Anything else you want to say before we sign off for tonight after, again, the historically long episode, but I loved every minute of it. Drew, we'll start with you.
Always happy to come chop it up. Good luck to y'all in the playoffs. Enjoy your buys, Zach and Scott.
Wait,
Jordan, you got a tough one.
You're telling me I have a bye? Dude, if I lose, you know how bad I'm going to feel? I'm going to feel so bad if I lose after all this bye talk.
But Jordan, you have a legit coin flip, I feel like. It's going to be a really good game.
I agree. It's a complete coin flip. Yeah.
Let's just hope that the geriatric nature of his team kicks in, Jordan, and you'll beat the shit out of him.
I'm fully expecting Devonta to go off and for CMC to go off. It's going to be a bad day for me, but we'll see.
Devonta will have 3 touchdowns on 4 receptions and
from the 1
yards.
yard line.
Yeah.
Henry.
I'll be completely honest, boys. I actually don't know exactly who I'm starting this week, so I got some decisions to make.
Honestly, that's always been my issue with your team, Jordan, is like it's too even across the board that like who are your actual stars and who aren't. You know what I mean? But that's fair.
Yep,
Jordy,
do I have
what
to
are your
use the
last...
tight end premium?
Well, you know what? I think you traded the pieces to build towards the system we have, and that's what it is. Give me your last words, Jordy.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited for kind of football to end the year, just in general, whether it's fantasy or otherwise. So good luck to you guys.
Yes, sir. Zachy, what you got?
Yeah, basically same. I had a good time. Thanks so much for having me on. Always down to chop it up, and good luck in the fantasy playoffs, and bear down.
I love it. Hey, listen, my last words are Josh Allen is just hitting his stride. Go Bills. We excel in the cold. And otherwise, Deeb, we miss you. Boys, thank you for coming on tonight. Can't do this stuff by myself. I tried it once. It went okay. It's much better like this. Everybody, please enjoy the rest of the football season that we have. We'll start talking about basketball and hockey very soon, but let's cherish this while we got it. And Jordan, Drew, and Zach, thanks for coming on once again. Really appreciate you guys. Love hanging out, and best of luck to everybody.